Ladies and gentlemen, the show will commence in 5 minutes. While you are waiting, please hit the like button and share the video link.
Breathing even.
I can hear you breathe.
Really?
Keep breathing. Turn down the headphones a bit. Turn down the mics a bit.
Please like and leave a comment, and share this video.
Only 3 minutes until the start.
Yeah, it's just not in so many ways the same quality on Rumble as on YouTube. It's too bad Rumble is just such a, I don't know, what do you call it, titles organization. Yeah, I'm just hoping they're making improvements and continuing to. So they have things like Odyssey and BitChute and some of these other ones. I wouldn't even know how to compare them. And of course, YouTube has got a huge, much larger amount of money, of course.
Only 2 minutes until the start.
Please like and subscribe to this channel today, and don't forget to share it and hit that thumbs up. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the awesomeness is about to start in 1 minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to begin. Grab a drink and a snack, sit down and enjoy watching the show. Don't forget to comment, like the video, and share it to others.
everybody. 2 seconds. We're almost live here. I'll give you a second. How are you, Duke?
Hey.
What's been happening?
Oh, just having fun at the zoo. A lot of work with porcupines lately. And same old with rats and rabbits and quail.
Everybody, thanks for tuning into live show 58, streaming live from Minsk. And hopefully you can hear us good and better than we used to. We've got new microphones, so if you tell us in the chat everything's okay, that would be appreciative. And let's start. I just cut you off, didn't I? Sorry about that.
No.
Your last days?
Huh?
Your last days at work?
Yeah, I have a few more days left is all. So.
Okay. We've got Rolf in the chats. He's moderating for us. And if Rolf, you can tell us the sound levels are okay, you can hear us okay with these new mics, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Just waiting for
if we're both loud enough and handsome enough.
Well, we can't fix that, sorry.
Yeah.
Hang on, I just got to check something. Well, levels are good, everybody's happy. Well, we're all happy, that's the main thing. Okay, Let's get going to it. Okay, I'm going to start tonight, as usual, and we are starting in Belarus, and as we've been discussing, July 3rd is the Independence Day Parade. We will be streaming live from 9:30, which is 7:30 GMT, which is 4:30 in Sydney in the afternoon. You can work out the other times. So we'll be live from there. It starts at 10. We'll be there at 9:30, starting stream, and I think it's an hour and maybe 2 hours. There's lots of military vehicles coming, which I will show you some of them, and the Russian White Knights, which is like the Blue Angels.
Yeah.
They're here. They arrived yesterday. And there's lots of planes flying over.
And a lot of that is modern military equipment, like S-400 and...
yeah, they're going to have an S-400 coming past. So. They're going to have,
an old T-34s, a Russian-Soviet tank from...
Yeah, they're going to start off with World War II stuff, and then they're going to go into the modern stuff.
Wow.
I'll just grab some of this, show people.
Yeah. So the Russian... Blue Knight, or what are they called again?
Russian Knights.
Russian Knights are going to be there. Wow.
So there's these things, these things.
Whatever that is.
I think it's an air defense system. And
a
then,
boat with wheels.
T-34s.
There it is.
There's supposed to be 10 of those. Some of them come from Russia.
Yeah.
Like the Russian version of the Humvee.
Huh.
Or maybe it's the Belarusian version of the Humvee.
Huh. That looks a lot like a Humvee there.
There's another T-34. And should be good. And Duke will be there, I'll be there, and Max, and from a local, and we'll be wired up, and we can annoy everybody with our commentary. And what else? Just trying to think. That's about it, I think. I think that's it, which will be good. And obviously today is Minsk. It's 50 years since it's been designated a hero city.
Oh, today?
Yeah. Well, this next week or so.
Next day. Okay, next time.
Since 1974. So there you go. So today they had flowers being laid at the Victory Square, and which I missed again. I keep missing everything because I find out later. It's annoying. Just trying to find something here.
Wow, commemorated a hero city.
Yeah.
At that time, huh?
Yeah. There's the Russian White Knights. They're playing. One of the planes, obviously. So you'll see them flying about doing their acrobatic stuff.
Looks like a Sukhoi, huh?
Should be good. And that's it, I think, for Belarus stuff today. You got anything to add?
Okay. Well, not a Belarus, no.
Why not?
Because you're the Belarus guy.
I'm the Belarus guy.
Except for the weather's very good. I mean, it's quite hot lately. Boy,
It's hot.
nice weather.
Yeah, I'll just that's them laying the flowers today at the Victory Square for the 50th anniversary of Minsk being designated a hero city. And I think there's some video. And people got to bear with me. I'm on the new I'm on the new laptop, so I'm just.
Oh, the woman. God, I keep forgetting her name, but she's very high in the Belarusian government.
Yeah. Oh, there it goes. I found the. Yeah, I found the sound. New laptop.
Yeah, you have to get used to it.
Yeah.
New microphones, new laptop.
Same one again. Men with big hats.
Yes. No fat. Except for that guy.
He spoke too soon.
Very little.
I think there's one more. Standing next to the hero cities.
It's a big book there.
So there you go. That was today
Hmm.
in Minsk. And that's it for me.
Okay.
We can start on your stuff.
Okay, some of this world stuff. What's going on in the world today? The last day.
What is going on in the world today?
Well, the big news,
Tell me the big news.
maybe the biggest,
Tell me the biggest news.
I would say, is this release of Julian Assange. And I guess it officially was today when he was released. What today is Wednesday? Yeah, officially today. You know, he was traveling, and of course they had to, I believe, charter a plane. Not quite sure how that is. They wanted to or whatever, but anyway, it was very expensive. Nearly $500,000 to charter from, I believe, the UK all the way to, what's it called, Saipan or
Saipan Island.
Saipan?
In the
Yeah,
Mariana Islands.
yeah. But it's
Who knew they had a federal court judge there?
yeah. That's we have a video of Assange. I think landing. I think he's landing there in on that island.
Oh well, I've got some videos. I'm going to digress. I've got some of him first.
Yeah, and it's like a U.S. It's like lets you know that the U.S. has islands all over the world, and you know. I was thinking like what's it called? Diego Garcia was strange. He used to belong to the UK, to England, and anyway, nobody asked these people if they wanted to be a part on a piece of property of the U.S. And like Syria, 1/3 of Syria, the United States says it belongs to them.
This is him arriving in Australia.
Quite a tall guy too. Oh, this is the latest one then, or
Yeah, he's arriving in Australia.
I only had a video, I think, of him arriving in Saipan.
That's his father.
Welcome home, son.
Yes, and then where are we? We'll play yours.
Mr. Assange, any comment? Mr. Assange, any comment to your supporters out there?
Yeah, of course, the fact that the U.S. has a presidential election this year is what influenced Assange's release.
Yeah.
Probably more than anything.
Barry Pollock, criminal defense lawyer for Julian Assange.
Good lawyers, too.
The prosecution of Julian Assange is unprecedented. In the 100 years of the Espionage Act, it has never been used by the United States to pursue a publisher, a journalist like Mr. Assange. Mr. Assange revealed truthful, important, and newsworthy information, including revealing that the United States had committed war crimes, and he has suffered tremendously in his fight for free speech, for freedom of the press, and to ensure that the American public and the world community gets truthful and important newsworthy information. We firmly believe that Mr. Assange never should have been charged under the Espionage Act and engaged in exercise that journalists engage in every day, and we're thankful that they do. It is appropriate, though, for this fight to end, and it is appropriate for the judge, as she did today, to determine that no additional incarceration of Mr. Assange would be fair, would be appropriate, and it is time for him to be reunited with his family. Mr. Assange is grateful for all of the support that he has received and looks forward to reuniting with his wife and his children and getting back home to Australia. Thank you.
Mr. Polk, is Mr. Assange going to come out and make any statements at all or be available for a question?
Mr. Assange will not be taking statements. When we conclude here, we'll go back inside and we'll leave with Mr. Assange, but he will not be taking questions.
What does this mean for the future of WikiLeaks and the work that WikiLeaks is doing?
WikiLeaks' work will continue, and Mr. Assange, I have no doubt, will be a continuing force for freedom of the speech and transparency in government. He is a powerful voice and a voice that cannot and should not be silenced.
Can you speak more about the choice of Saipan as the venue for this?
It's close to Australia.
Because his supposed crime occurred entirely outside of the United States, whatever district is the first district that he enters is the appropriate district for him to be prosecuted. By agreement with the government, we decided that this was an appropriate venue. It is closest to Australia. It allowed us to come in, allowed Mr. Assange to walk out a free man, and to quickly get back to his family in Australia.
You said that this was happening for years?
What sends a chilling precedent is the prosecution. The fact that the United States elected to charge Mr. Assange with violating the Espionage Act. The court today determined that no harm was caused by Mr. Assange's publications. We know that they were newsworthy. We know that they were quoted by every major media outlet on the planet. And we know that they revealed important information. That is called journalism. The United States prosecuted that. They exposed Mr. Assange to 175 years in prison. That is what has a chilling effect. Today, a decision that it's time for Mr. Assange to go home, that doesn't have a chilling effect. The chilling effect is the United States pursuing journalism as a crime. I hope this is the first and last time that ever occurs.
Given what you just said, how difficult was it to therefore for Mr. Assange to come here and make this deal? Of course he wanted to go home, but how difficult was
Assange's crime was to report the crimes of the American government.
Was not going to agree to any disposition of this case that required him to accept allegations that are simply not true. Mr. Assange did not plead guilty to and would not plead guilty to 17 counts of the Espionage Act, computer hacking. There was a very narrow agreed upon set of facts here, and Mr. Assange acknowledges that, of course, he accepted documents from Chelsea Manning and published many of those documents because it was in the world's interest that those documents be published. Unfortunately, that violates the terms of the Espionage Act. That's what we acknowledge today. We also said, and Mr. Assange said very clearly, that he believes there should be First Amendment protection for that conduct. But the fact of the matter is, as written, the Espionage Act does not have a defense for the First Amendment. So what he acknowledged is what he has to acknowledge, which is true and nothing that he should be ashamed of. Yes, he received classified information from Chelsea Manning, and he published that information. That should not be a crime.
How does he feel about the length?
One more.
Yes. Yeah, remember when the London police stormed the Ecuador embassy on the orders of the CIA.
That Julian's
Mike
release
Pompeo.
and the breakthrough in the negotiations came at a time when there had been a breakthrough in the legal case in the UK, in the extradition, where the High Court had allowed permission to appeal. There was a court date set for the 9th and 10th of July, an upcoming court date in which Julian would be able to raise the First Amendment argument at the High Court. And it is in this context that things finally started to move. I think it revealed how uncomfortable the United States government is in fact of having these arguments aired, because this case, the fact is that this case is an attack on journalism, it's an attack on the public's right to know, and it should never have been brought. Julian should never have spent a single day in prison.
Well
but today we
said.
celebrate, because today Julian is free.
Yeah, remember Mike Pompeo?
Yeah.
You know, the same guy that said, we lie, we cheat, we steal. So he wanted to get, you know, they stormed the embassy, you know, the Ecuador embassy in London. And of course, the plan was to get him out and to have him killed, have Julian Assange killed. So, but anyway, it didn't work out that way, luckily. And luckily now he's free. And yeah, it's just incredible that he's actually out now. And everybody was wondering if they're going to shoot down the plane or whatever the deal is, you know. And you know, it's kind of also revealing. It makes me wonder if Julian Assange chose that place just to show, you know, some place that most people never really heard of, you know, and seeing that it is a, I don't know, what do you call it, a colony of the United States? Basically, you know, the United States, of course, calls it, they own it. They own the Marshall Islands. They own Guam. They own Yeah, one of the Mariana. But, you know, it's like they, and then in the Indian Ocean, they've got Diego Garcia. Who knows how many hundreds of islands, and literally hundreds of islands, you know, not mentioning Puerto Rico, and all this kind of stuff that the U.S. owns. And then there's all territories all over, and or parts of islands like Guantanamo Bay, which is Cuba. And then, you know, and then they talk about like Russia, and acting as if Russia's trying to be imperialistic and take over Ukraine, when actually that was, Russia does not want to take Ukraine and wants it to be you know, an independent country, and they did in the Minsk agreements, and that's very clear, and that's very obvious, and anybody can look at the Minsk agreements. But yet they accuse, I don't know, it's how they twist the facts and they twist everything, to make it look like they're the good guys, you know. Even Hawaii, they didn't want to be part of the United States, but they didn't have the power to resist. So anyway, it's you know, maybe part of the reason why he chose that little island. I wouldn't want to set foot in the U.S. either if I in his case. Yes. So anyway, Margarita Simonian, there she is. She's kind of like a what do you call Maria Zakharova. She's, you know, speaks similar too. You know, they have the same kind of passion. And
what does she do?
She is the chief editor of RT, and actually, what is this organization called? It's the Rossiya Segodnya, and they own Sputnik as well, Sputnik and RT. And well, mostly she's RT, but I guess it's part of that group as well. And Julian Assange, of course, did reports on RT at that time, and she is, of course, very happy that he's released, and she calls him the best journalist of our time. And she says she hopes he will return to active life and again do some reports for RT like he did in 2012. That makes him a Russian agent. You know, anybody who has any sympathy towards anything that's Russian is a Russian agent, is a Putin agent.
Definitely.
You know, good. So, you know, it's Simonian said that, well, you know, like, and I agree with her about the press and freedom of speech. No, nothing will change, she said. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, he shouldn't have given in to anything, and he should have not pled guilty to that charge. A lot of people say that. I believe it was Robert Kennedy Jr. and it was Vivek Ramaswamy, you know, that were running for president of the United States. I don't know what Trump says. You never know. But Trump is the recipient mostly of WikiLeaks, at least their work, because they're the ones that exposed Hillary Clinton's emails and that it was the Russia hoax and everything else.
And today all those emails got taken off the WikiLeaks server.
Yeah, that was part of the agreement. But it's anyway, Trump was the recipient, and I wonder if, because he's part of the opposition to Biden, you know, normally you'd think he'd come out and say, I wouldn't have done that. I don't know. Hope not. You know, makes you wonder, because that will cause a lot of damage to Trump by not wanting to support that. So I don't know. So far as I've known, he's being silent so far, you know. And anyway, she said, you know, being about freedom of speech and everything, she says, no, nothing will change. You know, it's not that he made a deal. It's all a political game. Biden needed it at a certain moment to gain certain votes. If there were no elections, he wouldn't have been released, Julian Assange. So, you know, it's possibly Biden did that also to bait Trump, and maybe to see if Trump is going to, you know, and then Trump would lose votes, like I said, if he's against getting Julian Assange released. I don't know. We'll have to wait a few more days to find out. And yeah, Julian Assange was the leader in exposing the true nature of the rules-based order before it was called the, you know, rules-based order. Essentially, the rules-based order, as everybody knows, is the U.S. is allowed to do anything it wants and is not accountable. And at the same time, the U.S. will cover for the crimes of any other nation, such as Israel or Ukraine, and they can get away with any crimes that they want. Well, it's like, you know, all of the war crimes, but there are no Nazis, as you know, in Ukraine. I mean,
there's none at all.
That's, I think, Tucker Carlson even says that. So, and Julian Assange, she exposed WikiLeaks, you know, and Julian Assange, the torture prisons or black sites, black prisons such as Guantanamo, and many, many others. There are lots of them. I don't know if they still exist in Europe and the Middle East, you know, places where they torture people. A lot of them, people there that are getting tortured are completely innocent. They never did any crime. And then sometimes I remember back during these wars, some neighbor might have some other neighbor he doesn't like or they don't like, and they say, that guy's a spy, and the U.S. will go get that person, and then they go into Guantanamo Bay and get tortured for years and years, although they're guilty of no crimes whatsoever, except for somehow being enemies of some neighbor. Terrible. And people probably die. Julian Assange also released that video of the U.S. Apache helicopter, if everybody remembers, killing people, and laughing like it's a video game, killing innocent people. There was also videos released of the United States killing Reuters reporters, and I remember watching that video with the Apache attack, and what was shocking to me is there was a guy just kind of driving around in the area, and he saw that there were people that were shot and kind of laying and bleeding in the street, and he had 2 daughters, and he was going out, and he told his daughters to stay in the car, and he went out to help the people, that were suffering, and the U.S. shot him, and were laughing about it too, and probably the daughters obviously are sitting there looking through the windshield, seeing their daddy go out and try to help somebody, and seeing him get blown away by the United States. Incredible. And the pilots or whoever, the crew of the Apache, are sitting there laughing. And some of these, believe it or not, I guess today, at least what I read somewhere, a lot of these people regret doing, these crimes, and they said that they did far worse crimes. The crimes that the WikiLeaks exposed of the United States, the soldiers have at least come out and said they did even far worse crimes, under the name of the United States. So, and this is incredible. They get away with this, and then they want to bring some trumped up fake charges against Putin for war crimes that are not war crimes, and he did nothing at all. You see how the rules-based order works, everybody? Yes. Anyway, was it 2010? And 2 Reuters journalists were killed in 2007, and they covered it up. WikiLeaks also exposed documents of U.S.-friendly fire deaths in Afghanistan and murders of Afghan civilians, innocent civilians, by the U.S. and their allies. And there was something called the war logs. There are nearly 400,000 reports, and that was, I guess, from around October 2010, with details of over 100,000 deaths in the Iraq War, including 66,000 civilians, with cases of torture and other abuses. Also, there's Cablegate, which showed thousands of deaths resulting from the U.S. operations in the Middle East, which includes secret drone strikes in Yemen, and it also includes proof of the U.S. spying and gathering biometric and biographic information on key UN officials, in other words, to use against them, as bribes and leverage to get UN officials to vote and to do things the way they want. It's incredible. I mean, you hear about a lot of these crimes. A lot of these things have already been known, but forgotten. And I've seen it myself, being in the military, and I told people here on this site, although I was just a corporal at the time, but I worked for the highest general in Germany. I was on the Secretary of the General Staff, and seeing how things get operating, certain people just disappear all of a sudden, and they're not there anymore. And then, like my captain, I drove in, and I saw the MPs putting handcuffs on him, never saw him again. And then I think maybe the next day, my sergeant, he was gone, and you're not allowed to be talking about this stuff, and you don't know what happened to these people. And they just disappear. And there's a lot of other things. Sometimes you get some it's weird I'm talking about this. Here I'm in Belarus, and actually I had to sign papers that said I will never talk about this stuff. And it's not like I'm some of these other people that have had far worse information by the US government.
So we expect you not to come back when you go to
yeah, when I'm on my way home, I won't make it home. No, but there's people that have far worse
watch
information.
out for black vans.
Yeah, and guys with khaki pants and sunglasses and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's not anything. I could tell some certain things, but it's not like anything so big, But anyhow, so you all know, proof of U.S. spying and gathering biometric stuff. Like I said, it was to use leverage against people, and that's what they want. And trust me, they want people. And this is going to sound strange. I mean, all you have to do is think of the Epstein Island. They want people that have these problems. Either they're attracted to little girls, little boys. They love money a lot, like a certain president of Ukraine that we might have all heard of, and things like that. People that like greed and lust and things like that, and they want those people because they can use this against them, and they can like sometimes, like a drug, issue rewards to these people, and either or threaten to expose them, things like that. And yeah, it's just sick. And WikiLeaks exposed a lot of that stuff and how it works, but they didn't even come up with these conclusions that I just told you about, that they use these against people. So, yeah, and then these people will do their bidding. But you can imagine anyway, when they get all this information on UN officials and whatnot, that's just part of what they exposed. But they do it against congressmen and everything else too. So, I don't know, like they tried to get things on Trump as well, but apparently Trump has a fairly clean background, abrasive personality, but they didn't find anything like that. He didn't have any fine attraction to little boys. And look at Joe Biden. Is there a little bit of flaky stuff you've seen that Joe Biden has done? So it lets you know maybe what helped him to become the president too. And you can ask his daughter about that and find out what she wrote in her diary about old Joe when she was a little girl. Okay, and
speaking of men with skeletons.
Skeletons, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, so that's kind of questionable there. We'll get into this boy too.
His wife is supposed to be a boy.
Yeah, his wife is supposed to be her brother. Gosh, if you can figure that out.
Not his brother.
No, not his brother. Supposed to be her brother. His wife is supposed to be his wife's brother. I mean, as far as photos look, I think Candace Owens was talking a lot about that. You'll have to look up if they didn't take it off the air or you delete it from YouTube or something like that. Yes. Anyhow.
She looks manly.
Yeah. She kind of does. And it's such weird that she has
like Big Mike.
Yeah, Big Mike.
Big Bridget.
Yeah, Big Bridget. Yeah, she looks just like her brother. And when she was a little girl, she doesn't look like her at all, how she looks today. But she looks like, yeah, anyway, you guys can look that one up yourself. Yes, okay. Well, these people with their fetishes, and especially the super rich and all that, many of those in the U.S. torture prisons are innocent, as we said, and they cannot be released. Guess what? Because they're innocent, and they will talk, and the U.S. cannot let them out because they're innocent people. And not just talking about the tortures they've gone through. Yes. And there's also the Guantanamo files. Over 150 people have been proven to be completely innocent. From Afghanistan, Pakistan, civilians abused for years without charges of any crime. There's much more, such as the 2016 exposure that the U.S. was hacking into computers and phones of world leaders such as Angela Merkel, and I even heard about that before that was exposed. I heard about that back in 2008, from somebody who ran this computer sort of a deal, and he was telling me that they're listening on those phone calls. But anyway, that's besides the point. And all of the latest French presidents, they were listened in. All their phone calls were listened in by the United States CIA and the NSA or whoever those people are. Anyway, sneaky USA. And don't forget Hillary's emails. WikiLeaks got a hold of all of her emails, was releasing that.
Not anymore.
Yeah, that stuff's all gone. And it was all fake. All this stuff that Trump, and she's even talking about it in her emails, that it was all fake stuff. Incredible. And yet she's still going on, probably, isn't she? That Trump's a Russian agent. It's incredible. Now we go to France.
This guy.
Yes, he doesn't look happy in this picture. Probably because of his terrible leadership.
I've got a French video after this.
So
just letting you know.
Okay. Yes, now he's the Euro badass, I guess, Macron. The press is talking about his gamble of dissolving parliament and calling snap elections after his party's huge losses in the European elections. Has to make you wonder if the people are indicating that they do not like this guy, his policies. And then he calls an election. So that, to me, that sounds like he's trying to ensure that he loses, but that's not really the case. He's actually trying to rescue that, his bad thing, and he's now saying, oh, we have to talk with Russia. Before it was, we got to send troops there, and we got to fight and kill the Russians. We got to win in Ukraine, and now he wants to talk with Russia. So he's making like a 180-degree change. It's not like Richie Sunak, who also called elections, and I think that was after the generals told him they don't really have much of a military, and they're going to lose their ass big time if they try to do anything against Russia. But yet they're still talking.
No. The rumor is they said to him that we are at war with Russia.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
So he thought, I don't want to be here.
And the icing on the cake is the fact that they don't have a military. That's right. That was the result that I was thinking of. But yeah. So in case of Macron, he thinks he has a chance to win instead of threatening war with Russia as he was doing just a week ago. And now he's realizing the French. It's also like Olaf Scholz. He's also saying, yeah, he lost in lots of the elections, the European, because the German people don't like, his war policies, and all paying billions. He's even said this, billions of euros to go to war against Russia in Ukraine. But he says he's still not going to change it. He's going to continue. Huh? The people don't like it, but I'm going to continue doing it anyway. I guess that's a real nice politician. And but the French, I guess they decided they don't want to fight and die for Slava Ukraina Sieg Heil. So now,
fucking hell, scare the shit out of you.
New microphones.
Yeah.
I thought I'd wake you up there. So now he's advocating, like I said, talking to Russia, and and Le Monde, French publication, is saying that he's completely stopped talking about warmongering and things with Russia. That's completely over with. They said it's muted. They used the word muted. And the left, the New Popular Front, and the right, the National Rally, led by Jordan Bardella, are doing very well. Le Pen's party has a 35% rating in the polls, and Macron is down to third place. He's only got 19%, and yet he's running the country. So it makes you wonder how he's going to do in the snap election. Good luck, old Macron. You're going to have to settle down with
Bridget.
with
Michael.
Marco?
Michael too.
Yeah, Michael too. What was the real name of the brother?
Can't
and
remember.
he's disappeared, right? Nobody knows anything about him.
Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, Jean-Pierre. No, that's the one in the White House, press secretary.
Is it?
Yeah, Jean-Pierre.
No.
But anyhow, I think that brother, and they have photos of him as a child, but he's like disappeared and he doesn't exist anymore. No. What it was is the girl that's supposed to be her, that doesn't look at all like Bridget. She's not to be found.
Yeah, but he's not to be found either.
Well, technically speaking, but obviously he looks like Bridget. So I don't know. This is a really messed up thing. You have to maybe watch, like I said, Candace Owens to find out.
He's swimming in the Paris in the Seine tomorrow.
Who is?
Macron.
He's swimming there?
Yes, because if you want to watch this video, this one here, what's wrong with people? Listen to this. This will blow you out.
Okay.
This will blow you out. Listen to this.
Looks like today. The government has spent over €1 billion trying to clean the Seine before the Paris Summer Olympics that start in 1 month, and it's not working. So Parisians have set up a website telling everyone to go poop in the Seine tomorrow on June 23rd, which is when President Emmanuel Macron and Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo both said they'd go swim to prove it's clean. The website even has a calculator so that people who live far from Paris can know when they need to poop in the river for it to flow down to Paris at noon tomorrow. But even today,
so I can float down the river.
Seine looks awful. It's even more green in person, and I saw people dumping garbage into it. Apparently, they've done multiple tests, and the level of bacteria in the Seine is 3 times higher than other open water swimming events allow. However, the Olympic Committee says there's no reason to doubt the swimming events for the Olympics won't take place in the Seine this summer, and they're confident the swimmers will be able to use it. So, I don't know. Did you swim in it?
Yes.
That reminds me, remember when they had all this these chemicals dumped in the Gulf of Mexico, and the fish, and then there was so much, it was the oil. No, it was what they had the oil spill, and then they were dumping chemicals to try to, to capture the oil, and the chemicals were, I don't know, just as bad or worse than the oil. And Obama's saying, "Oh, look, I'm eating fish from the Gulf of Mexico," which he wasn't. Of course, it was probably from somewhere else, And a lot of those chemicals, I guess they went up the east coast of the United States, but huge dumps of chemicals in the Gulf of Mexico, and I guess killed a lot of the fish, and any fish that lived, a lot of mutations and things like that. Did you remember that at all? Terrible stuff. So that kind of reminds me of that. He's going to go swimming in the Seine. It's probably going to be some other place, and they're going to say, "Look, he's in the Seine." Insane. In the Seine, yeah. So. Okay, as we know, anti-Russia former leader of Holland, Rutte, will become the new Secretary General of NATO as stuttering Stoltenberg leaves, but also we now have Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas chosen to take the gardener Joseph Borrell's spot as foreign relations leader of the EU.
So a warmonger, an anti-Russian, is going to be the foreign minister.
And you still got van der Leyen. She's also strongly anti-Russian and warmongering, genocide.
Yeah, and she just got her second term. They agreed on it.
Yeah, so boy, you got this incredible stuff. I think the biggest, what do they call that here? Qualification to hold any of these high positions in the EU is to hate Russia. You have to have a seething, spitting hatred of Russia in order to hold these high positions. Kind of, NATO or the EU makes you really wonder, doesn't it? So actually, it's a big hate alliance. That's all it is. A hate Russia alliance.
Because it's left over from the World War II. The Nazis were running it.
Yeah, a lot of these people are descendants or whatever of Nazi families, right? And Estonia, they were on the side of Nazi Germany, right? Until they were, liberated by the Soviets. And that's why Kaja Kallas, she's wanted in Russia because I think she destroyed, was it over 140 Soviet monuments that depicted, the liberation of Estonia, and she got rid of it. I guess she doesn't like the fact that they're...
And desecrating Red Army graves.
Yeah. Red Army what? Graves?
Graves.
Really? Did she move them or put them somewhere else?
Yeah, they're moving them, yeah.
Jeez. Look at that. So I guess she's got a seething hatred of Russia. So a lot of people in the high-end politics.
Is she the one that husband's making money off Russia?
Yeah. She's the one. Her husband makes huge amounts of money in Russia, and there's a huge portion of the population that are actually ethnic Russians. I don't know if it's like 40% or something. So in other words, she is definitely far from representative of her population of her country. And it's like they're coming up with these laws, and I'm thinking it was it Estonia, where it's now becoming against the law, like Ukraine was doing, against the law to speak Russian. I
think it's Latvia,
schools.
Latvia as well, isn't it?
Latvia? I'm not quite sure, but these people, they're just, in spite of the fact that a huge portion of their people are actually ethnic Russians, they are going, they want to eliminate, just like Ukraine, everything that's Russian. It's incredible. The only thing you can say is that this is a new type of, and it undeniably is, a new form of Nazism. Remember back then it was Jews, and now it's Russians. The Russians are the new Jews, as a lot of people have said. And these are the Nazi leaders now. So you thought Nazism was defeated? Guess again.
Zukov was right. He said everybody will hate him for getting rid of the Nazis in Germany.
Who said that?
Zukov.
Let me think.
Field Marshal.
Oh.
Red Army.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he said Europe's going to hate us for getting rid of the fascists.
Oh, okay. I remember. Yeah, now I remember seeing that. You remember this stuff. And David, he's going to also, as you know, at the parade, he's going to be able to pick out most all these vehicles and everything. He can tell them at a spot, that's a such and such, and that airplane is that. I can't do that.
Well, Max is going to be holding the camera, and
you can be...
And we, both of us, will have one of these.
Yeah. But
we'll be wired up.
Yeah, but you're going to have to be like the. As a matter of fact, I'll bet that you know even more than the Belarusians on what these vehicles are called and what they, some certain statistics about them.
I don't think we'll go that far.
Yeah, well, more I'm saying than most of these Belarusian peoples. You know, there'll be experts, of course.
So again, July 3rd, we'll be streaming live 9:30 Minsk time, which is 7:30 GMT.
Yeah. Yes. And also realize that all these leaders we were just talking about, including the ones outgoing and the ones coming in, none of them are elected by their people into these positions in the EU or NATO. They're put into positions by elites. So an elite group, and it makes you wonder if those elite groups are also the Nazis. So isn't it incredible? You have these ideologies are actually taking over the entire world.
Well,
we'll talk more about that.
That was the plan after World War II.
So this is kind of like a sneak attack. A sneak attack of getting all these things.
The top Nazis and the top business people got together in Salzburg in the last few months of the war. And the plan was the EU.
Yeah. I remember a lot of these people that were topping the Nazis, they were actually the presidents, and we showed that even, of the EU. They were the first people that were running the EU were Nazis.
And West German Army. And
they were under Adolf Hitler, believe it or not. Incredible. And EU and NATO too. Some of the NATO leaders were Nazis. You have photos even of these people wearing Nazi uniforms in World War II. Big secret though.
And incredible. The judiciary, all the judges still.
Wow. And scientists, a lot of them went to the U.S. I think, wait a minute, Oppenheimer, I don't know, was that?
No, he was out of there.
He was out? I don't know.
Yeah, he helped with the atomic bomb, so he was already out.
Yeah, but anyhow. Okay. And you might think now, I mean, we're looking at what happened in North Korea now. Putin was just there, and they signed this comprehensive agreement. And in a sense, this is like a checkmate. It is and it isn't. Or it's going to we're going to find out if it is. It looks like, well, we'll talk about that in a second here, but it looks like.
This is Duke's argument.
Yeah.
Why it's checkmate.
It's kind of hard to
convince me.
Formulate it.
Convince me.
Okay. The U.S. And South Korea, their plan was to militarily intimidate North Korea. But now that this comprehensive agreement has been signed between Russia and North Korea, that it kind of balances things a lot. You know, instead of South Korea and the United States threatening constantly North Korea.
Yeah, but Kim's got nukes, so he's fine.
Yeah, but the U.S. has more of it, and apparently
but the South Koreans aren't going to do anything because Seoul and all that would be completely destroyed. So.
Yeah. But it's like it's just trying to threaten North Korea, and
that's why Gaddafi shouldn't have given up his nuclear program.
Yeah. But Iran has been doing pretty good when they gave up theirs. But anyway, Russia's agreement is only if North Korea gets attacked.
They didn't give up theirs. They didn't have one.
Who's that? Iran. Oh, they had at the very beginning. They were starting and they were looking into what it would take to do it, and they were kind of researching.
Wow, they're not allowed to.
Yeah, no, they were. They. Let me say, they weren't actually yet planning to build a nuclear weapon, but they were looking into if they did want to, what would it take, and all that sort of thing. It was kind of like the pre-work of that. And at some point in time, they decided they don't want to do that. And then, Benjamin Netanyahu was saying that they do have a nuclear program, and they're 1 month away from a nuclear bomb. Ever since the 1980s, they're still 1 month away from a nuclear bomb.
It's a long month.
Yeah, it's a long month. Turns out to be more than 30 years. I don't know. So
it's a time dilation.
But anyway, Russia is telling South Korea they don't have anything to fear unless they, or the U.S. or somebody wants to attack. But there's a lot more to this besides this, and I'll get into that. It's just incredible when you find out about what South Korea has been doing in the meantime. Russia will come to the aid of North Korea, of course, if the U.S. and the U.S. is very angry as well, and South Korea. And South Korea is threatening to send weapons to Ukraine unless they end this agreement. But it's like Russia's laughing their head off because South Korea has already been sending huge amounts of weapons and ammunition to Ukraine, but they're doing it in a sneaky way. Let's talk to you about how that is being done. The U.S. has been trying to isolate both North Korea, as well as, of course, Iran and Russia and Venezuela and things like that. But as far as between these two, Russia and North Korea, Putin said back in 2022, and this is a quote, "We know that the Republic of Korea decided to supply weapons, to Ukraine, and back then warned that Russia could restart cooperation with Pyongyang in response." So Russia was even talking back in 2022 they could start, having cooperation between North Korea again. And of course, that's materialized now. Right after Putin said that, the Wall Street Journal, this is a U.S. publication, reported that even then, South Korea said the U.S. had sent over 100,000 155 millimeter artillery rounds to Ukraine through the United States. So Wall Street Journal also reported that by May 2023, the U.S. had already given Ukraine 2 million 155 millimeter round shells. It is unknown how many 155 millimeter shells were sent altogether from South Korea to Ukraine via the U.S. So what they would do is they would sell them to the U.S. and the U.S. would give them to, to Ukraine as part of these military deals. And, it's so, let's see, it was termed a confidential agreement which allows South Korea to stick to their letter of the agreement by not sending lethal aid to Ukraine. So in other words, it was just a go between the United States.
Oh, that's what Serbia does, isn't it? Serbia sells it to Spain and all that, and Spain then gives it to Ukraine.
Well, Vucic says
that's what's happening.
Well, that's what has been reported, but it turned out that he says that's not true. That's a fabrication. They didn't sell them to. There's a different story to that. I can't even remember what it was. I didn't write it down.
No,
because
they've
it
been
wasn't
selling them to countries in the EU, which they do, but then those countries have been passing them on to Ukraine.
I think he said they're not necessarily true, but there's I don't know. Anyway, I think that's just a fabrication to get the Russia to turn against Serbia. So, but he just came out today and said that, Vucic. So that's new news, maybe that it doesn't work. And also South Korea they sold billions of dollars worth of K2 tanks and howitzers to Poland, which allowed Poland to send their old tanks to Ukraine because they're replenishing their stock with the new stuff that South Korea sent. In other words, in that case, South Korea did not send things to Ukraine, but in a way, they facilitated Poland sending weapons to Ukraine. So I don't know. It's almost the same thing. So also now, right after Ukraine attacked Crimea with cluster bombs, where 2 children were killed. I think it was 4 people so far.
I've got a new video from that. Have you seen it?
Oh, I don't know. I might have seen those videos.
Well, the new one today. And the cluster bombs arriving.
Oh, is that when they show the beach and those things are hitting in the ocean? Yeah, I saw that online, but maybe
I'll just grab it.
Show that to people. I didn't save it.
Here we go. Watch the water.
Yeah, there's one up in the front by this by the steps too.
Yeah.
See, look at that right there, landed. Wow. There was one from a different angle as well, but this one I think is a better one.
This one?
Yeah. See, the other one shows it right by the steps, right near the camera. Wow. Those are some huge splashes. Two hours after this, after after this bombing, Zelensky took to the airways. 2 hours, and he's begging for more. So that was the other video.
Нещодавнє погодження ударів по російській території поблизу
He's begging for more weapons and bombs.
знищити частину російського терористичного потенціалу,
але Russia's terrorist activity.
Потрібно убезпечити людей і життя повністю від російського терору.
Projection, big time projection. Look at this.
Потрібна відповідна зброя для українців. І ми працюємо над цим з партнерами. Ми робимо все, щоб наблизити рішення. Загалом наступні тижні, червня, перші половини липня мають стати для України не менш результативними, ніж травень, ніж перша половина червня. Ми вже отримали рішення щодо нових патріотів для України і готуємо продовження. Ми працюємо над постачанням ще систем ППО і далекобійність зараз. Це питання не лише про те, чого ми можемо досягти на полі бою, але і про те, коли взагалі завершиться війна. Чим більше ми можемо, тим швидше вдасться примусити Росію до справедливого миру.
Forcing Russia into a just peace. Well, Russia just offered him a just peace. What is a just peace? A just peace to Zelensky is Russia completely surrenders and Putin goes to war crimes tribunal and Russia pays billions and billions or trillions in war reparations. That's a just peace as far as Zelensky is concerned. After, as everybody knows, a lot of people that watch this show anyway, they know what prompted Putin to enter the war. The war was West Ukraine was bombing East Ukraine and killing their people, thousands. I think can't remember, what did I say? It was 14,000 people they killed, including a lot of children. And Putin sat back for 8 years and was watching this, and then he tried to, after some months, he tried to make a peace with Ukraine, and Ukraine said, and actually it was, everything stays as a part of Ukraine, territorial integrity, of course, except the Crimea. And the whole idea is to get the Crimea, is for the U.S. to get the Crimea, like I've always said. And I think this is even beyond a theory, because I was saying this a lot, even though Scott Ritter, nobody else was saying this for some odd reason, until Jeffrey Sachs actually came out and he admitted it as well. And that's the whole goal. The U.S. wants the Crimea, because with the Crimea, they believe that they can completely contain Russia and neutralize Russia. So most of their goals will be met to take over Russia, split it up into 30 or 40 countries, steal all the resources, and they think they can do that if they have the Crimea. So that's what it's all about. And as payment for going into NATO and the EU and getting all those weapons that Ukraine was getting for those 8 years before the special military operation started, the payment was that that Ukraine will lease for long term, 100 years or more, the Crimea to the United States, because that's how it always works. Great Britain has always wanted the Crimea. I mean, it's just incredible. You can look at statements from everybody. As a matter of fact, you won't even believe this, but Turkey even wants the Crimea, and they want a piece of that. And that's one reason why they're staying friends. I don't understand why they want control of the Black Sea, everybody. All these people. Turkey has already a lot of control because they have the Bosporus there. It's really strange stuff. Turkey, maybe that's why they're not as, frothing at the mouth trying to get to Crimea like the rest of Europe is, and the United States is trying to get it. So, yeah, very fascinating stuff. So, there's a post from a German politician, and, this is about the, there's two photos. See if we can show this photo of, this is a guy in Crimea. Vacationers came under missile fire from Russia. Air defense. There were deaths, 2 people, including a 2-year-old child. Actually, more people died. 4 at least by the time I saw that Russia attacked Sevastopol, of course. More than 20 people, more than 50 were injured, or was it 150? People were on the beach. Air defense began to work right above. I don't know if you can show the photo there. Yeah, look at this photo, but this is a doctored photo. And we have a picture of the real photo and where this is from. So so this is the real photo. There's no explosions in the background, and it comes from the movie Jaws of 1975. So this guy purposefully did this to fool everybody, to make it look like Russia's attacking innocent people and they're all running out of the water and all that sort of stuff. Incredible. A lot of people called him out and say he's a despicable human being for trying to trick everybody like that. He's a politician in Germany. Yes. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, she added in, she wanted to chime in on this as well. So we have a tweet from her. And she said, this should not be happening. This is about what happened in Crimea for the most part, as well as the whole thing. Imagine if Russia, using a Russian satellite, fired cluster munitions on a Florida beach. The only border our American military should be defending is our own border, and the Constitution mandates the federal government to defend the states. It says, who's a provocation? It's the fact that the USA, or U.S. Air Force, is using Global Hawks to direct the fire of U.S.-provided cluster bombs on Russian civilians in Sevastopol is provocatory. Our winning... This kind of, she wrote it wrong. Our winning hearts and minds. Our win, whatever, anyway, what does that mean? Our winning hearts and minds. How hard will Biden continue to poke the bear ahead of the November election?
Russia needs to start shooting down these, make the Black Sea a no-fly zone and start shooting down these drones.
Yeah, that's, I have that. That's good that you brought that up, because I didn't write it within this text here, but that Michael Malofy was a, let me see, I have it at the end. Let me see how I wrote this here. He was a security analyst for the Pentagon in the United States. You know, he's retired now. He said the U.S. is not only obviously involved in the strikes on Crimea, but also in Dagestan by the U.S. as drones are used, you know, by the U.S. extensively in Crimea. So the U.S. has been using these drones to help Ukraine target, you know, ships and everything in the Crimea. So, you know,
they should be taking down Starlink as well.
Yeah, what more does this show that the U.S. is trying to, you know, give all this assistance to Ukraine to get the Crimea? I mean, just like what I've been saying, the goal is for the U.S. to get the Crimea, the whole thing. I mean, what more obvious is it? And Michael Maloff says, I think Putin is going to start taking out these drones as a way of responding to the U.S. escalation. He also said possibly U.S. bases in the Middle East could become targets, which I don't think so. Maybe Russia should use proxies. This is my opinion. I mean, my not suggestion, but something that Russia should think about. Maybe the Russia should start use proxies as the U.S. does and Ukraine do. You know, and that's talking about Dagestan right now. Apparently, you know, like what was that bombing of that, what was it, in Moscow not too long ago? And they were using...
the Crocus.
Yeah, yeah. And that was Ukraine using proxies. And apparently now there's evidence that Ukraine is behind this one in Dagestan, you know, to use proxies to kill Russians. So there you go. Anyway. And what else do we have here? So this Nazi ideology forges on until it accomplishes the complete destruction of Ukraine. The Zelensky regime will either feed more blood into the meat grinder or get more to flee Ukraine. And the Germans are getting fed up with all the Ukrainian refugees. You know, I'm sure a lot of other people are. There's a lot of them fleeing to Russia and even to Belarus. We'll get to that too. But here's a headline from a Bavarian politician from the CSU. That is the CSU is the sister party of the CDU, which, by the way, I think they got in the latest elections, they got the higher votes. actually obviously more than the SPD. The SPD didn't get very much at all, and I think it's the Alternative for Deutschland party and the SPD are kind of tied. And of course, the ones that are always behind a little bit, for some odd reason, normally always the FDP is behind and the Greens party. And then they have a lot of these offshoot parties like the Pirate Party and stuff. And they normally don't register more than, I mean, they don't get up to 5%, so they can't be represented in the parliament unless you have at least 5% of the vote. So they never make it normally. Sometimes the FDP actually doesn't make it, but they hover around 5%. Then there's Die Linke, and I think they were guaranteed always a seats in the parliament, even though they had always a hard time getting 5%. But anyway, this is a CSU politician saying that Ukrainians should go to work or go home because they're living there off the taxpayer money of Germany, you know, and thousands and thousands of them. And most of them don't want to work, and of course, I don't really blame them. You get everything free without working. So, I don't know. Yes. Ukrainians work or go home. The cost must be high, you know, anyway, for all this cost here. And there's a video. Anyway, this is a different border. It's also talking about Ukrainians getting away. And it's a taxi driver, and a guy wants to go to Belarus. This is a taxi driver here talking about a guy that's trying to flee Ukraine and go into Belarus. And he's talking his side. If I can't read it, it's very small. So the guy came up to him when he was about ready to go, the taxi driver, and asked for a drink of water. And he gave him a drink of water. He took a sip and said, you know which way he's going? And the guy said, can he drop me off at some town, I guess, on the Belarusian border? And the guy said, no, go take a bus. Go to the bus station. I'll take you to the bus station. He said he didn't have any money. So I gave him 100 hryvnias, you know. He said, Father, take me to the Belarusian border. I'm like, I'm not taking you there. So this guy takes out a grenade out of his pocket and says, I have nothing to lose. And this taxi driver, it's not written here, but he barely got out of the car. And this guy blew himself up in his taxi car, you know, and there's bits and pieces and blood and stuff all over. There was a photo and all that because, you know.
That'd be hard to clean.
Yeah, because he didn't want to go to the meat grinder.
Is that extra, the car detailers?
The car detail. Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, all the shrapnel in his dashboard and all that. It was a vinyl dashboard. They showed pictures of it, you know, and windows blown out and everything. Jeez. But this guy killed himself rather than get killed by the Russians in, you know, in the meat grinder that Zelensky was just sending so many people to. We had a lot of videos, like we had some last week and we couldn't play them really, but all this mobilization and them going and snapping people off the streets and
everybody's seen them. There's lots.
Yeah, lots of them. Yeah. So, along with this, more and more Ukrainians want to go to Belarus and Russia. As a matter of fact, I was at home today and on Russian and Belarusian TV, lots of people, they're putting videos, I don't know, maybe on TikTok or YouTube, RuTube, all these things, and they're talking about how much they love Russia so much better. These Ukrainians going to Russia. And it's incredible. So
just to sidetrack,
starting a huge wave.
Just to sidetrack, the immigration here produced figures up to this year so far, last week. 900,000 people have crossed the border without visas from Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland to visit.
To visit Belarus,
yeah, visitors, yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of them, of course, want to go shopping because all the prices are so high there. And yeah, so it's actually a lot more popular here than you think, coming to Belarus and to Russia. And of course, the economies are doing very, very well. Economies in the West are doing very poorly.
Belarus is going to join BRICS.
Yeah, I saw that. You know, I think
it's going to join the CSTO soon, and then BRICS straight after that.
Yeah.
Lavrov was here yesterday.
Oh, really? In Belarus? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. So they're kind of like he's talking to the authorities here on what they need to take and all this stuff for the meetings and all. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So the USA is gearing up for propaganda, because of, the popularity of Russia and Belarus and all that. So they're coming up with new ways to propagandize the West and, to hate Russia and all of this stuff. And we have a video. As a matter of fact, we had this on the last show, but somehow we lost it. But it's him giving his instructions on not to go to Russia. Look at why, and he'll tell you why. Oh,
to Russia. And I know this is sometimes comes down to a very painful choice for Americans who have family members in Russia, sometimes family members with health problems that they want to see, but you run a tremendous risk by traveling to Russia of being detained, being imprisoned, being convicted. And so we continue to make clear to every American, do not, for any reason, travel to Russia.
No. I tell you what, Dave, you and I, look at all the trouble we have trying to stay out of prison here.
They've got that sign on the Lithuanian border as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Belarus, you might not come back or something like that.
You might not come back. Don't go. You might not come back.
Yeah, so anyway, it's they don't realize that we can have shows like this one here and tell people the real truth.
I keep telling every time I go, they go, "You live there?" And they go, "Yeah." And I go, "Why?" I said, "It's nice." They go, "Oh." It's looking confused.
Yeah, I can't. You can't believe this stuff, and like they're acting really strange with me. You cannot believe that these people actually believe in this stuff. Here they are, border people, and they must talk to people every single day, and then they see Belarusians coming over and then going back, and they just can't understand it. And then they see their own people from their own country going over there and coming back with their car full of food and things.
What's more confusing is Westerners coming and staying.
Yeah.
I show my Australian passport and they're going, "Oh, you're here."
Yeah, isn't it strange? Nice. Like before Andrew came here, the doctor, I talked to him for a grand total of maybe 30 seconds in the metro, and then we exchanged contacts. And then when we had the show, then I said, "Oh, that guy, he'd probably like to," because he likes it here. He told me then he liked it here. And then when he comes in and talks here, he says the identical things that we say about Belarus. And it's like, oh, we collaborated for months beforehand, and even Buba, coming.
When you come to the studio, you get a cheat sheet, what you've got to say. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. Mine's written on the wall back over there. So I just look up there.
And the chairs are wired with electricity. If you don't say the right thing, you get zapped.
That's a good one. Yeah, if I tell you the wrong thing or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you heard this Matt Miller, don't go there. And I think they were doing that during the what was the soccer things as well.
Did you see the video from him today? Huh? The video from him today talking about the media?
I don't think so.
I didn't get it, but he said, like the Western media is getting shut down in Russia, and he's going on about that, and people are looking at him like, "Yeah, but you've just done that to Russian media." It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's like, oh, Russia's initiated this. It can't be that we shut down all the Russian media over here first, and then as a retaliatory measure, Russia's doing it to ours. No. Russia started it. You just can't believe this stuff. I mean, projection and lies and twists and whatever you want to talk about. I don't know. It's just amazing. Yeah. So I wonder why he can't tell us all these people that are in prison. Maybe the guy from the Wall Street Journal who was caught red-handed, getting secret material, military material in Ekaterinburg, which is the place where they're building a lot of these weapons, tanks and all that sort of stuff. And as a matter of fact,
first question is, why were you there?
Why was the guy there in the first place? Yeah. And he's got a Russian name even, believe it or not.
He doesn't even have to be there.
And well, it's a lot of suspicious stuff. Anyway, the guy was a spy. He's a spy.
He got caught.
Going undercover in the Wall Street Journal. We just talked about the Wall Street Journal too. Yeah, he got caught. And then there's Brittany Griner. She was a sports person, and she even admits, and it's strange, you don't see her on the press anywhere. you would think the U.S., since she was released as a prisoner exchange thing and went back to the United States, and the U.S. doesn't seem to be interested in interviewing her. I don't know. You don't see anything.
I've found that video. Do you want to watch it?
Of her getting interviewed?
No, of Matt Miller talking about the media.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Cracking down on journalism because they are afraid of their own people hearing the truth about Russia's actions inside Russia, the actions by the government to repress their own people, about Russia's actions to invade a neighbor and illegally occupy its neighbor. And so we have seen them cracking down on journalism for some time, and unfortunately that continues.
Incredible.
Projecting much?
Yeah. But, I don't think that the U.S. is occupying like Saipan or Guam or Diego Garcia or 1/3 of Syria or anything like
Hawaii.
that. Yeah,
The Hawaiians don't want them there.
Yeah, I don't. It makes you want. I don't even know if they ever took a poll, but it's like even Puerto Rico. They don't want to become part of the United States, and I'm not sure about Puerto Rico. But even after what was it, a hurricane there, they still, I think, in a lot of places don't have electricity. The U.S. never put anything there to help them out. So anyway, but if the Russians, they don't tell their people not to go to the United States, but what can happen to you in Russia? Are you going to get stabbed? Drug dealers all over the place, or raped, or is that going to happen if Russians find that in the United States?
I was reading in the news here, serious crimes here are at an all-time low.
In Belarus. And yet they even have more foreigners. They brought in more Africans and Chinese here in the last couple of years.
I mean, this is in the Belarus news, so I'm not like telling state secrets. So, and you know what the highest crime is in this country at the moment?
What do you mean, the worst crime? What's that?
Come on.
Let me think. Well, I'd have to take a while to think about it. But shoplifting?
Not paying your taxes.
Not paying taxes. Not paying the taxes. I wonder how they get out of that. Well, that's a big one in the United States too. That might be the biggest one. But violent crimes, I don't know if they have any in here.
No, they said it's at all-time low.
I wonder, it would be very interesting because I was living in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it's per capita is the second highest murder rate on earth after Jamaica. And that country has 110,000 people and right around 50 murders a year. It makes me wonder how many in Belarus. I don't know. I've never seen any statistics, or maybe they don't exist. I don't know. Maybe there's no murders at all. You got to have a couple at least. There's got to be somebody getting drunk, or some American coming here from Chicago or something and killing somebody from Pennsylvania, from what do they call it, Philadelphia, that Kensington Avenue or something. But I said, it's probably a lot more dangerous for a Russian to go to the United States than it is a United States person to come to Russia. And normally you're not going to get in any trouble, Russia or Belarus, unless you break some kind of a crime or break some kind of a law.
According to this, in 2019, there was 225.
In 2000, what?
19.
In 2019, 295 murders.
225.
225. But when you consider that there's nearly, 10 million people here? And the country that I was at had 110,000. And there's 50 murders a year.
Yeah, it says here the crime rate here has been falling every year.
Yeah, and you know what? It's actually getting better here as time goes by. Because I remember, like I said, I came here in 2001 about, and then 2007, and then came here in 2021, and I'm just like shocked, and I'm saying, am I in Germany? It's like the last time when I first came here, last time came here in 2021, I couldn't believe it.
People should know there's capital punishment here as well, so that's why.
That can help people to stop doing some really bad stuff here. Murders, in other words. makes me wonder if they have ever had to use that.
Yeah, they used it on those guys that did the bombing, remember, in the subway?
Oh, I know about that bombing, and I think I heard they caught him, but I didn't know what their punishment was for killing a lot of people. Yeah.
Death.
Yeah. So as far as the bombs launched on Crimea on the 24th of June, Russian ambassador to the U.S. accurately stated that these ATACMS missiles could not have been launched without the participation of the U.S. Maybe that is why the Pentagon and U.S. government have refused to make any comments about it. Have you heard any comments yet? Isn't that strange? It's sort of like, but I tell you what, it's very much, this is also strange. From 2014 up until the beginning of the special military operation, the U.S. never really mentioned about Ukraine bombing the Donbass all those years and killing, thousands and thousands of people.
Never.
They never mentioned it. It's as if it never happened, They did mention, of course, that Ukraine is one of the most corrupt nations on earth. That's what they said back then. They don't mention that anymore, but at least they got that far. So, Maria Zakharova.
Who's that? Who's that?
Maria Zakharova.
I don't know who that is.
She's a blonde lady that firebrand from Russia.
And just for everybody, we need 1,000 subscribers so Duke can go and interview her.
That's right. Or she might even come here.
Yes. So, well, she comes here all the time.
Yeah.
So we need people to subscribe. Get your friends, family, your dog.
Yeah.
Everybody to subscribe.
Yeah.
So Duke can interview her.
That's right.
If he can get the words out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She speaks English. That's why I can interview her. So
I didn't mean that.
Oh,
I meant you like dumbstruck.
No, it would be nice. I like her attitude, and and she's actually looks like fun when she was interviewed with by Jackson Hinkle. She's not as
stuck up,
serious. Well, not stuck up. No, she's not stuck up. She's not as serious as she normally is on these press conferences. So you can talk to her. But anyway, I'm sure you can get her serious.
Yeah, so 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Everybody. We don't need money. We need subscribers.
But she was talking about the Nazi, or if you can call him a neo-Nazi advisor to Zelensky. Since Arestovich is gone, and he's plans on returning if Zelensky's gone.
He's going to run for president.
And run for president, yeah. And he's actually been saying some tremendous and interesting things. And Russia will probably have no objection if this guy becomes president. I'm talking about Arestovich, not this guy that Maria Zakharova is talking about. Podolyak, Mikhalo Podolyak. We even have a photo of that guy.
Do we?
Yeah, I put it on. Yeah, that's definitely should be on there. Number 13.
This guy,
he is one of the uber Nazis because I think he is actually the Nazi contact or influencer of Zelensky. He's there to probably make sure that Zelensky follows the Nazi, the Nazi playbook or something. Yeah. So he said that there are no tourist beaches, after this bombing in Crimea. There are no tourist beaches or areas in Crimea of tourism, The area, he says, in Crimea, nor are the signs of any peaceful life. The entire peninsula is a military target. And basically he's saying that these are all people, that are the people are military targets. Then he can kill all these people because they're not innocent, basically. And Maria Zakharova said this is 100% replica of Nazi concept of cleaning Crimea during World War II. So in other words, that's what the Nazis said about Crimea in World War II. And he said exactly the same thing as, his, his so-called ancestors of his ideology had said. So I guess he's following the party line of the National Socialist the NSDAP, the National Socialist Democratic Workers' Party of of Germany at that time. Sieg Heil, gosh. As I continue to say, a major goal, if not the top goal of the West, is to get Crimea. And this guy, they believe that if they have it, they can neutralize everything, like I said. And Podolyak wants to make sure that that happens, so they can pay Masta until they can stab Masta in the back and try to become the rulers of the universe themselves, not just the United States becoming the masters of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And we have another video. This is it shows probably what Podolyak himself went through even when he was young. And this stuff is incredible to me, because this is very similar to what these people in Israel go to. This is an indoctrination. This is indoctrination, because these people, they even today, they cannot get the concept of anything.
And this is on Facebook.
Oh wow, yeah, say of hate for Russia. They're raised. As a matter of fact, there were two doctors that came into Belarus, and this was on Belarus TV just some days ago. These guys, they came in, they fled Ukraine, I guess, maybe sometime after the start of the military operation. And they said they cannot believe it. As soon as children are able to start speaking, they start training them to hate Russia.
Get them young.
Yeah.
Let's listen to this. I'll watch it.
Yeah. Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil. Look at them. Nazi salute. Slava Ukraina, which was Bandera's rally call, Nazi rally call. Death to the enemies. Ukraine über alles, they said. Glory to the heroes of Ukraine. Glory to the nation. Sieg Heil. Here they are, a little bit older. Heil. Death to the enemies. Ukraine above all. Motherland. Ukraine. Hang the Russians. One nation, one motherland, Ukraine. Hang the Russians. There's more, I think, too.
Programming them.
Yeah, there's more.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're so this was before. This is all before the military operation. This is not after. This is before all this stuff.
I wonder how many of these kids are alive now.
Yeah.
They would have been older now.
Yeah, yeah.
In the army.
And here's, remember this one? If you're not jumping, you're a Russian. So you have to jump. And yeah. So these people have all been programmed their whole life to hate Russia. Above everything is hating Russia. Here's a kid too. Wer springt nicht, ist eine Russa. Hang the Russians. If who's not jumping is a Russian. All before the military. Look at it. Bandera is our father.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Look at this kicking on the ground, a Russian flag.
So all that can be found on Facebook, eh?
I guess so. Well, it's probably not anymore. They probably deleted all this stuff, but there's lots and lots and lots of it. I mean, you could probably be watching this stuff for a year endlessly without even going to sleep, of all the videos and all the stuff they have and their displays of their hatred of Russia. And and then there's books. They train them in school, that the subhuman beings are Russians and everything like that. A lot of people don't know this in the West, but this is what these people are raised, and with every fiber of their body is to hate Russians, to hate, to hate, to hate. Not only that, to hate Jews, to hate Russians, and I don't know, they look at so many people as inferiors, probably the Poles as well, Polish people, because, that's what Bandera was killing a lot of Poles. What is it? I don't know, hundreds of thousands, if not maybe into the millions that Bandera's people massacred of these people, Belarusians, you know, probably over 1 million Belarusians died at the hands of Bandera, you know, that led, you know, the bands were led by the Germans, and the killing was mostly all done by the Ukrainians because they loved to do the killing. So, and this is some frightening stuff. A lot of this stuff you guys will never hear this, and they don't want you to know this either. So, anyway, so there's another one here, and this is, you know, viewer discretion is advised.
No, we can't play it.
Oh, not on YouTube. Okay. Well, anyway, it's very...
And the one after it as well.
Yeah, okay. These are gruesome, and it's like the killing of these terrorists that were apparently, they found now links that Ukraine had managed this too. But these are the big, strong Muslim terrorist guys used to kill Russians. And, you know, they were shot by, you know, Russian police, I guess. And, but anyway, it's kind of gruesome.
Did you see the protests in Kenya today?
I got some videos of that too. Yeah.
There's one of a guy who got hit in the head.
Oh,
blew his head off.
Oh, I didn't see that one. This was also a terrorist one, but I didn't show that. It was like his brain is next to him. And,
yeah, this is just protesting. Yeah.
And you know, and the Russian are talking. Look at how small his brain is. That's why these guys are so stupid or something. You know, and doing what they're doing. But you know, that's talk like far even much worse, and the things are much worse that the Ukrainians did to the Russians. And you know, I mean, if you want to think about it, what just comes to mind right now, there were doctors over in Ukraine when they got prisoners of war, Russian prisoners of war, they would castrate them. They castrate the Russian prisoners of war. And a lot of them, of course, they just had them on their knees and they shot them in the head, you know, the Russian prisoners of war. Of course, that's a war crime as well. But the United States is, you know, head of the rules-based order, and nothing will probably ever happen to them. You know, so they're allowed to do any kind of murders and things that they want to do. Yes, and what else do we have here? We can now switch, if you want, to Gaza and Lebanon.
I've got the Lebanese one up.
Okay.
The Gaza one we can't show because the kids are dead and falling to bits.
Yeah, this is
they're shelling southern Lebanon with white phosphorus.
Yeah, just like Ukraine uses banned weapons, you know, the cluster bombs on the Russians. This is a banned weapon. These are white phosphorus, and it burns you. It just keeps on burning right through your body and everything like that.
The only way to stop it is put underwater.
Wow. So, yeah, and makes you really wonder, you know, U.S.
You see, Lithuania is going to get out of the international agreement of using cluster weapons.
Well, really?
So they can use them. And
Lithuania, and they border Belarus. They don't have a border. Well, they do have a border with. Do they have one with Kaliningrad? I know Poland does.
Yes.
So maybe that's to be using on Kaliningrad.
Yeah.
But anyway, these are nasty people. But these are the good guys. This is what the good guys do, everybody. They get banned weapons and they use them, you know, on mostly on innocent people. That's mostly what they're used for, not on military targets. So anyway, so let me go past this part. Which one is this? Oh, this is, yeah, you can play this, the video. I mean, the audio is also telling. There's kids screaming underneath there. This is after a... Oh, we don't hear it. I guess the video's off, or the audio is off.
Yes, the audio's off.
So anyway, there's kids screaming under there that are buried under rubble, and these guys are rescuing them from, you know, Israel's bombings. And this was after these people were sent to, this is a safe zone. This is what Israel calls a safe zone, and these people were sent there, and this is, I believe, a United Nations school, and lots of children. So lots of children are there. And that bombing killed over 100 people. Most were children. And yeah, so that's what the good guys do, like I'm saying. And Israel, I think now they're actively attacking not only Gaza, but the West Bank, as well as Lebanon. So, and then they herd people into safe zones and then bomb them You know, they've been doing that for the whole entire time. You know, since October 7th. So get to these safe zones, and then we bomb you to death. And use banned weapons on white phosphorus and all that sort of stuff. Oh, man. All this stuff is just terrible. Remember when Biden said he had to give cluster bombs to Ukraine because he had no more bombs left?
Yes.
And yeah, and I say this on a lot of shows, but then all of a sudden, as soon as this thing started in Gaza, like magic, the United States came up with huge amounts of bombs, you know, and I think there was even 100 secret shipments to Israel of all these bombs. You know, it's like magic, you know, unless these factories were working, you know, overtime, and they opened up other factories at the same time. How could you possibly send that many bombs in such a short time, right after they said they don't have any more bombs? Yeah, hundreds of thousands of bombs. And yeah, I think that was the number 18. You just played 18? Or
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You're way ahead of me there. So, sick people. I don't know. To me, it's like an infection, this Nazism stuff, like the Zion Nazis and the Ukraine Nazis and Kaya Kallas, I mean, in the Baltic states. I don't know. Is this Nazism even spreading? It's like getting worse. It's a
I was surprised to see Juanita complaining to Poland the last couple of days.
Yeah.
She said not to close the border.
Yeah, I saw a message. She said not to close. And what was that all about?
So Belarusians got access to Europe.
Oh, part of it is to get Belarusians over there to train them to come back here and attack the you know.
As we said before, they shouldn't be cutting off the border. They should be doing the opposite.
Well, they should, yeah. Well, it's actually like
because they're just making things worse for themselves.
Yeah, that makes them look like what they are, Nazis. You know, shutting up the borders.
Well, like I said, 900,000 of Poles and Baltic people have visited Belarus visa free.
Yeah. Belarusians can't go there unless they have a visa, I think, right? But yet they can come over here without a visa. But yet Lukashenko's the bad guy. Yeah. I think if you're from the U.S., you have to have a visa to come here, though. I'm not sure. Or maybe you can come if you fly into the Minsk airport. You don't need a visa, right? Only when you cross the border by land.
Well, before the SMO,
oh yeah,
everybody could come through the international airport with no visa and stay for 30 days visa free. But unfriendly countries now have to get visas.
Yeah, that's right. Now they have this designation, unfriendly countries, which is the ones where the governments want to.
Your country's unfriendly. My country's unfriendly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Anyway, they're trying to send the violence over here, and it's weird. The crime rate's going down. The violent crime and stuff.
It's the lowest.
So they must be doing something wrong. What about the drugs? We need the drug trade here. Gosh. But anyway,
high penalties here for that sort of thing.
In truth, we hope leaders in the society and everything kind of keeps going here like this. And I feel more and more sorry for all the people in the West, you know, as things get worse and worse every year.
That's what Lukashenko said. He's not going to leave until he finds someone that won't destroy the country.
Yeah.
Like Juanita.
Yeah. She even wants to get rid of the Orthodox Church. I think she wants to replace it with the Orthodox Church of Ukraine, which is a fake church created by, again, Mike Pompeo and Poroshenko, who was the former president of Ukraine and some kind of a minor official, I think, in Istanbul. A fake church to
For those that don't know who we're talking about, Juanita Guaido is?
She is Tikhanovskaya. She is the self-declared ruler of Belarus.
And why do we call her Juanita?
Because she is just similar, you know, like a self-declared president, like Juan Guaido of Venezuela.
Yeah,
who he was in the parliament there, and then he marched up and said, "I'm the new president of Venezuela," right?
Yeah, and the U.S. and everybody backed him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, as everybody can figure out, he was funded by the U.S. and he was a puppet. And long before that, the U.S. was backing this guy. And like I said, there was another guy.
I don't know how many people are calling her Juanita like we are, but
probably just us.
Probably just us.
But this guy, Juan Guaido, there was actually another guy. He was a puppet of another guy that the U.S. was trying to put.
Puppet of a puppet.
Yeah, puppet of a puppet of a puppet. I think because this guy was a puppet of the U.S. and this guy used Juan Guaido as a puppet. So, yeah, because he was hanging out with him all the time, and that was the guy that the U.S. actually was trying to install in Venezuela, but he was soundly rejected by the people and everything.
Yeah, I think they've given up on him.
So they used this Hispanic guy that looked like a Hispanic version of Obama, and that's the guy that's Juan Guaido that they were trying. If you find him, look up Juan Guaido, and he looks like a Spanish version of Obama. It's incredible. I keep mistaking him for Obama anyway when I see them. Same haircut, facial features, everything. Anyway, so
maybe it is Obama.
Yeah,
that's good.
Maybe he's Big Mike's
second job.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe he had some stem cells or something like that done to him, and some. No, I don't want to get into that. But anyway, he's a Hispanic Obama-looking guy. Yes. What else? Okay.
Kenya.
Well, let's see. I think I had some.
Too far,
yeah.
Kenya?
Yeah. It's the. Well, before we even get into that, Africa. Some other news that the Kirill, I think is his name. He's in charge of this biological and chemical branch of the military, even though he's a civilian of Russia, and he keeps warning that of all these chemicals coming into Ukraine. So they're really, really trying to push this. But now he's talking about a lot of these chemical. Wait a minute. This is YouTube still, right?
Yes, we're still on YouTube.
Okay, well, just say, I won't say the word military, but just let's say there are
government-backed
laboratories that the U.S. is building and expanding at an accelerating rate in Africa.
Like they did in Ukraine.
There's a huge one, along with training. Yeah, in Ukraine. There's probably still some operating in Ukraine. And of course, the Russians found a lot of this, and Zelensky immediately had, ordered that all of these papers get destroyed. The day after the military operation started, he told everybody, destroy all of this work. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? And of course, part of the stuff that was leaked was that they were planning attacks on Belarus with biological weapons, and Chechnya as well. And I think a lot of it was they're going to poison like goats, and even Scott Ritter, he mentioned that they poisoned like migrating birds and things like that, and trying to bring diseases into different parts of Russia. And I don't know how far that went, but anyway. But let's just say they have these laboratories and they're up to no good, and the U.S. is opening lots and lots of them, and there's a huge one going in Ethiopia right now, and it's going to have big training grounds and all this sort of stuff. Jeez. And yeah, when we start leading into this, one country that is a huge U.S. puppet, and the U.S. said it's their biggest partner outside of NATO. I mean, that was some kind of a quote, and that is Kenya. And somehow I'm wondering, these people are all protesting now. They're going hog wild. And this is how much they love their government, which is, a big, big puppet of the United States. Let's see what these guys are going to do. This is after the government announced huge tax increases, probably to get money to send to Ukraine, or maybe it's to do something militarily, because all these countries are now switching from the U.S. I think Niger, wasn't that a week ago? They finally got the last Americans out of their country, and so anyway, they're expelling all of these colonial, exploiters like the United States and France out of their countries. And this is still a puppet country of the U.S., the government anyway. Kenya. Jeez. So it looks like those people are kind of starting to lean in the direction of kicking the U.S. out of there too. Yeah. And the military, of course, has been used. At least 8 people were killed and 50 injured by the time, anyway, these videos were made. And yeah, that's some pretty fun news. I'm getting towards the end here of what I have to say. And apparently Russia is ready to sign a deal, believe it or not, with Iran, just like they just now signed with Korea. And we kind of started, a little bit earlier in this program talking about this comprehensive agreement, which includes a mutual defense clause that if Russia gets attacked, that Korea will offer their services to Russia to help defend Russia. And if Korea gets attacked, unprovoked attack, then Russia will offer their services, is obligated to offer their services to North Korea in return. So, and now they have the same sort of agreement already written up and ready to be signed between Iran and Russia. And they're also expanding railways to increase trade drastically between Iran and Russia. So it's going to kind of make both of these countries, as well as North Korea, far more immune to sanctions of U.S. puppet countries and, the U.S. allies. And as you know, they have a union state now between Russia and Belarus. And if you start to look at, it's also a defense pact between, like Russia has said an attack on Belarus is an attack on Russia. So Russia will respond. And it's getting close to that, maybe between North Korea and Russia and Iran and Russia. So this is sort of starting to look a little bit like a counterbalance, a mutual defense pact. So the U.S. is going to be a little bit more hesitant to attack these countries. And I think they're a little bit too strong for the United States anyway. United States only goes after little countries that don't have much of a military at all. I don't think, a lot of people would say they'd never attack Iran. Iran is... And they can't even beat the Houthis.
Yeah. And the unrest is still going in New Caledonia as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't see this.
Yeah, look.
New Caledonia.
J'ai cherché les munitions de flashball. Voilà, ça rigole pas. Non, non. Ils ne se pas, là, ça y est, le barrage est bloqué, là. Ils ont refait. Non, mais les mecs, ils n'avaient pas capté.
It's like the people want France out of there, huh?
Yeah.
These are security forces, obviously. The reserves back there. New Caledonia.
Ça va, c'est pas bien les pneus. C'est les deux.
It's kind of hypocritical, isn't it, of France? Talking about Ukraine, and yet look at what they're doing in New Caledonia and many other countries still as they illegally occupy them. And Russia has never said they're going to occupy Ukraine. As a matter of fact, they were trying to avoid that. But the US decided they didn't want that.
Snowdonia, still going off.
Wow, incredible. Yeah. But it looks like Putin's trying to bring peace, and these guys, they're just doing provocations and robbing their people with higher taxes and everything else like that in order to feed the war machine and the meat grinders and everything else like that. Jeez. But they're the good guys. That's what good guys do.
Exactly.
So anyway, that's all the stuff that I have.
I've got a few things. We've got this.
No naked videos?
Coming up.
Hey!
This is EV fire. Electric vehicle fire in China.
Gee.
And
was that in China?
Yeah.
Wow.
They burn everywhere.
Like Western tanks.
Yes, and then there was a big fire in South Korea at the factory making lithium batteries.
Russia did it. Wow, huge. Look at that fume of smoke.
Problem is once these go off, they start generating their own oxygen, so it's very hard to put them out.
Wow.
So you can't smother them because they just generate their own oxygen. And then this is inside the factory. Inside the factory, you'll see how that goes. Where are we? This one is inside the factory.
This probably
Surveillance
before.
footage shows the moment a deadly fire started at a South Korean battery manufacturer and killed 23 workers on Monday. The video shows smoke coming from a stack of lithium batteries, and in a factory which contained around 35,000 of them, the fire quickly evolved into a huge blaze which then sparked explosions. The now gutted structure was in Hwasong, an industrial cluster southwest of the capital, Seoul. Firefighters with search dogs combed the remains on Tuesday and found the body of the last unaccounted for person, raising the death toll to 23. The father of one victim, while trying to find the body of his Chinese national daughter, told Reuters she had called the batteries, quote, dangerous multiple times. And he said she had recently told him about another fire at the factory. Most of the victims are yet to be identified because of the intensity of the blaze, but at least 17 were Chinese and one was Laotian. Experts say foreign workers in the country face a disproportionate risk of injury and death, and that they take on dangerous jobs shunned by many young South Koreans.
中方已经要求韩方
On Tuesday, China's foreign ministry said Beijing has called on South Korea to find the cause of the fire as quickly as possible. The chief executive of the battery maker Arcel apologized for the incident, but said the company had complied with safety rules.
The company will do its best to deal with this situation and will take on a firm responsibility. In addition, we will sincerely work on the investigation of the relevant authorities and will make every effort to follow up on the exact cause of the accident and prevent recurrence.
The National Forensic Service, police and the fire department are holding a joint investigation into the incident.
An investigation. Well, to me, it looks like a faulty battery. Of how much investigation they need besides the film.
Yeah, and do you remember the Trump documents? Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you saw this today. This is Tim Pool, if you want to listen to this.
Okay.
This is about those documents.
Ladies and gentlemen, that the FBI framed Donald Trump in the classified documents case. I'd imagine you would all be not surprised at all and say, yeah, okay, we expected something like this. Yeah, not surprising to hear this news. The FBI now admitting in new filings that, those photographs that went viral of all the secret documents that were scattered all over the floor, they staged the whole thing. Not only did they put placeholder documents on the ground, they brought cover sheets and placed them over some of these documents in this photo. So in this viral photo where everyone's saying, look at this stack of documents that Trump had, the FBI was framing Trump definitively in the court of public opinion. But I would say that this photo as evidence was framing Donald Trump to various degrees in the actual court system. Why? Joe Biden also had, in a very similar matter, classified documents, though Biden admitted he had the classified documents intentionally to make money off of, to write a book. That, well, they say, well, you know, he's a forgetful old man. It was a mistake. Donald Trump, they come out, stage the evidence, then say, aha, he knew it. This proves it.
Incredible.
Did you know that?
Wow. Yeah, they'd do anything to get Trump. I mean, look at that. They wiretapped his building in his Trump Tower. And I mean, it's just endless. It's just endless. It's like trying to get everything they possibly can. They even probably went back to his kindergarten and asked, you know, to see if he had racial tendencies or something like that. They went back before he was born, right? His father was happening like a passersby, and they had some KKK rally or something, and he was just looking, and so they took him into the police station. They found out he was just some guy walking past and looking, so they let him go. But yet they said, look see, Trump is a racist.
Okay, it's that time.
Oh, here you go.
So please go to the Rumble channel. We've got to cut off YouTube, and we're going to play famous and well-liked section. Don't see that in Belarus with videos that we come from.
Maybe that's all we are.
And videos, like white clusters and cluster munitions.
I've just posted the link in the YouTube, so if you can go to Rumble, and we'll go there in a second. Do you want to say something while I'm doing it?
Yeah, so you guys have to tune in there because you get the stuff that you can't see on YouTube, and well, you never know. Some people get away with showing things on YouTube. We don't. We get strikes and get taken down and everything like that. So we have in the past anyway. It hasn't happened for quite some time. I don't know why, because I'm sure that they can find some goodies and stuff that they would want to use against us on